Rock and roll. What's up, metalheads? Thanks for coming here to another episode of the Wyatt's Metal Podcast, episode 4, I believe. A lot of crazy things have gone on since I last did the podcast. Did one before going to Sick New World, and in that time, this channel has exploded. It's been insane to see. I was not expecting that at all. I really thought my Sick New World video would be like all right, since it was mostly me filming with my own footage. Didn't expect it to do so well. Did not expect Metal Sucks to write an article on it, which was fucking awesome. All of a sudden, I had no idea they were going to do that, and then all of a sudden, I'm getting text messages about a Metal Sucks article. Um, yeah, all that to say, like, I never expected this channel to grow so big so quickly, and it means a lot to me. It's really amazing. It's so cool to me to have this kind of like community of like-minded, not only metal people, but people like interested in festivals too, and know how meaningful and impactful they are to people like us. So, really, thank you to everybody for enjoying my channel, enjoying my videos. It makes it feel a lot more worth it. All the hours of staring at my computer, but yeah. So, thank you guys so much. Um, Speaking of all that, so I went to Sick New World, and it was important for me in my video to make it clear the good and bad aspects of it. I don't want to be a YouTuber that just like hates on things for clicks, and I also am not just gonna mindlessly shill for something either. It's very important to me to be a balance in the mix. So I'm glad people appreciated that. And for as many issues as Sick New World had, it was still fun and I had a good time. And like I can acknowledge that I enjoyed myself even amongst the mess of what was going on. Um, Let me go through some of these comments really quick before we keep going on. What's up, William? Says got a concert on Thursday in Spokane to see Ingested and Devourment. That's awesome. That's going to be a brutal show. Enjoy that one. Livy again. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I know it's don't really get much of a notice of when I do these. I try to give as much of an announcement as I can. YouTube is just kind of hard to update with stuff like that. And then May 30th, Seattle going to see Sepultura creator Death Angel and Spirit World. That's going to be awesome. Death Angel's always insane live. They're one of those. I think they were one of the first bands I ever saw. Period. And still to this day, whenever I see them, like, holy shit, they just kick you in the face. Yes, summertime's coming up real quickly. A lot of concerts coming up. It's hard to keep track of them all. Sorry. William asked, what bands did I see in Las Vegas? It was a whole lot of them. Started the day off with the 69 Eyes, who I knew of, never really listened to. I knew what they were like, but I actually really enjoyed them. I love that bluesy goth kind of rock and roll feel they had to it. That was awesome. As I saw, what was that, London After Midnight after them? What the Birthday Massacre attempted to play before their set got totally fucked with, and the chaos for the rest of the day ensued. After that was Mr. Bungle, who that was like the highlight of the day for me. I've seen Mike Patton on very rare like occasions, not in a full like I saw Faith No More play in a record store in Amoeba in San Francisco, and seeing Mr. Bungle here, it's always just kind of like weird out of place situations. But Mr. Bungle was so awesome live. They have Dave Lombardo from Slayer on drums, and they start playing the Hell Awaits intro. They're like, dun, 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 dun. And then when they get to where it kicks up, they switched over to a completely like old 60s pop song. The one goes like, da, 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 da. And it's just seamlessly switched over. I appreciate bands having fun like that. And then the best bands I saw of the day were Ministry and Spirit Box. Ministry I'm a big fan of for a long time. Spirit Box I'd never listened to before, but I've seen everyone talking about them, so it's kinda got into my radar of, like, "Who the fuck is this band?" They were both fantastic. System, for what I saw, sounded good. They better have for how much money they cost. And then I saw the catastrophe of body count with Ice-T keeping it real at the festival. I don't know if you guys saw that video. That shit was nuts. I've never like I said in my video, I've seen a band have a bad set. I've seen, like, a stage have sound issues for a bit, but I've never seen it to where pretty much the whole day, everywhere, everything you saw was, for the most part, a disaster, um, as fun as it was. I'm trying to go through these comments here. Catch the new horrendous song that dropped today. I did not, but I will check that out. There's a lot of new music out. Actually, speaking of new music, my friends in the band Anubis just dropped a new single out. They're a power metal band from Los Angeles. Good friends of mine. And aside from that bias, I thought the song was genuinely awesome too. So I recommend checking out Anubis on Spotify or wherever you hear your musics if you like the power metal, high vocals, speed metal type of shit. Strongly recommend. Almighty Smeg asks, "How many festivals are you going to this year?" That is a hard one to answer because it's kinda a lot of it's up in the air right now. With how the channel's growing, it's kinda opens more opportunities, and it's a little too early for some. Like, I did Sick New World. This weekend is Milwaukee Metal Fest, and I want to go, and I'm trying to go, and I've been in sort of contact with them trying to see if maybe we could work something out, but it's very down to the wire right now, so I'm not too hopeful on that one. Um, I very much wanna do Mexico Metal Fest in November. That lineup is nuts, and Mexico's pretty close to me. I haven't been to a festival on land in Mexico. I've only been on, like, cruises that stopped there. So I definitely wanna check that one out. It's got Emperor, Lamb of God, Septic Flesh with a full orchestra. That's the one that has me sold immediately. Um, and then, if I could pull it off, I definitely wanna do Tulminator in Slovenia. Those guys are really appreciative of the video I made, and they've been awesome, and just that area, the location is sick. I'm so happy a festival popped up there to keep the area alive for metalheads. Um, so we will see what comes up and what happens. A lot of things sorta happen spur of the moment for me in a lot of ways. I will probably think I'm not going to something and all of a sudden be there. Planet Killer asks, "Sweden Rock Festival, are you going?" I'm not planning on it this year. That's one festival I have not been to, but I definitely want to go. I've never been to Sweden. It's definitely on my list of places to go to. And the lineup is usually pretty sick from what I see. They have a good mix of metal and then old, like, hard rock legends, and I love that type of shit. Um, so no immediate plans, but it's on definitely on my list of checking out eventually. My favorite set was Turnstile. I didn't watch them. Uh, from what I've checked out of them, I thought they were actually pretty good, but for most of the bands I wanted to see were on the side stages in Vegas, where the disaster was. Really asked, "What was the temperature during the festival? The amount of concrete?" Yeah, that was nuts. I don't know exactly. I wanna say it was probably high 90s in American uh Fahrenheit standards. For Europeans, I think that's, like, high 30s or so. Um, it definitely was not, like, the hottest I've ever fucking experienced in Vegas, but it was definitely too hot for only being outside. I've been to festivals like Psycho Las Vegas where it's in July or September, it's peak hot, like, you'll die if you're outside for too long. But that festival's mostly indoors with one outside stage you can go back and forward from. This venue is just black concrete outside, that's it. And from the comments I've been getting on that video, I mentioned they do a lot of festivals there. They did an emo one, they have a rap one, like an R&B one, and a lot of people are saying that these exact same situations that happened at Sick New World has happened at all of those too. So it really seems like it's some company, probably like Live Nation or somebody, bought the area and is just using it as like one-day festivals just as money grabs to get nostalgic rich people to shell in cash for their favorite bands. And that's what I was explaining, was that it wasn't run like a festival for fans where like, I mean, I know every festival, the point is to make money, but there's also the sense of doing it for the fans and the big music and shows and everything. This is definitely run like a corporate from what I was hearing from some of the bands that played. It was like rushing, get on, get the fuck off, and just go. Um, to counter that, actually, I was gonna make a video on another festival happened this last weekend in Pasadena, California, near me, called Cruel. I think it was Cruel World Fest. I keep mixing it up and getting the names of it and Sick New World confused because I'm stupid. um, but this festival was an old goth fest. It was headlined by Susie from Susie and the Banshees, and then it had Iggy Pop, Gary Newman, a fucking bunch of those old, like, 70s goth people that were never really my thing, so I'm not dissing them at all. It's just I'm not super aware of many of the artists, but many of my friends went to it. It was, again, a one-day festival, but it was far less bands than what Sick New World had, something manageable. And from what I heard from all my friends there, it was great. It ran smoothly. The sound for all the bands was great. It was on time. My friend who went to both festivals said it was the exact opposite of how Sick New World went. But um, during Iggy Pop's set, so I think it went Iggy Pop and then the like Susie, the big fucking headliner everybody was there for. As Iggy was playing, a thunderstorm rolled in, and the fire department suddenly shut down and evacuated the festival, like, went on stage and told Iggy, like, "Get off stage, everybody has to leave, like, now." Um, and which was super unfortunate. Apparently, I don't know, but Susie from Susie and the Banshees hasn't played live in a long time, so people went like flew just for that, and then it gets canceled right before. So people are really upset, understandably so. The next day, the festival announces that at the same spot, the exact same location, they are going to basically add another day where they're gonna have Gary Newman play again, Iggy Pop play again, but play a full set, and then Susie to do her set. So the very next day after the abrupt cancellation, they announced another one for free for all the ticket holders, only for the ticket holders. And they also said that if people can't make it, um, they can get at least a partial refund on the ticket. So in my view, they earned a positive video, even if they're not a metal festival, because I think they did the best they could in a really unfortunate situation. Because this wasn't like they suddenly canceled because they fucked up their scheduling or someone was an idiot or whatever. This was festival has no control if the fire department shows up and says you need to shut down right now. They don't have any say over that. And like many other festivals, they could have just been like, "Well, that sucks. Sorry, everyone." But they went out of their way to get everyone to come back, to offer it to fans to see the headliner they're all there for. And for people who couldn't make it, as shitty as that is, they offered partial refund. So that was really impressive to me. And I want to give them credit and show people that I'm not just a hater on YouTube uh, looking for rage clips, because it's a festival that I would have no interest going to, but I highly respect that move on their part. Hang on, let me catch up with some of these comments in a minute. A lot of people going to Sweden Rock Fest, and I definitely want to go to that one. If I haven't been to a festival, it's just because I haven't been there yet, but I will get there eventually. Yeah. Patrick says, just came across your videos last week. Can't get enough. Thanks for the vids. Uh, can't wait for more uploads from here on out. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I don't take it lightly that people actually enjoy my content and enjoy watching the channel. Um, Planet Killer says, "I'm really mad I can't go to Sweden Rock this year. It's my 6th away." That's painful. I know the feeling of hard longing to go to a festival that um That PFD. I made a whole fucking video on it. It's a very real thing, and I definitely had periods where in my life where I was broke or struggling, couldn't afford it at all, or just had other things going on, and especially seeing friends posting pictures of being there, it's soul crushing. It really fucking hurts. I feel you. I need to read. What is this? Zachary, did you see Nick Nocturnal reacted? No, I did not see that. I had no idea. He really reacted to my video? That's awesome. I am gonna have to search that. So that's cool. I'm definitely aware of him. I've seen his videos. He's awesome. Cool. I definitely am gonna look at that. Yeah. Angie says, "Your vest is sick. Love the idea of putting all the festival wristbands on it." Thank you. Yeah, I view it as like my military badges. If these are the wars I've survived, different battles and fields, I could go into horrific flashbacks of bloody mosh pits at all of them. And just I respect all you people who keep the wristbands on and like never take them off, but I cannot wait to get that shit off of me as soon as the festival's over and just get it off. But you can't get rid of it, of course not. So yeah, this is a cool way to do it. I think I've seen other people like fully have a robe decked out or like their pants do it too. That's really cool. Um the water stations was a good move, but they sold too many tickets. Yeah, they did. And the areas with shade were packed like human sardine cans. They were, and the shade was like a thin little sheet. It really made no difference except like if you had an umbrella, you would have so much more shade than everybody else did. Like I gave them credit where I thought it was due, but do better. Oh, William says this weekend is also Northwest Terror Fest in Seattle. Yeah, actually, I've heard about that one. Think I know the guy who promotes it or has something to do with it, but I've seen that go around. Um, Definitely one to add to my list to check out. I know I have my video of American festivals, and I definitely did not cover all of the festivals in America, especially because they keep coming up. It's ridiculous. When I started going to festivals at 16, there was nothing in America like Vakken or Hellfest or any of that shit. You basically had to go overseas with this experience. I didn't even know metal festivals like that existed until I watched Headbanger's Journey when Sam Dunn showed Vakken. I was like, "What the hell is this?" Um, yeah. I'm so glad to see so many more popping up. Supportive of all the good ones that do well or mean well. There's a difference between meaning well and hiccups happening and, being a shitty promoter or something. What bands would you recommend, like, in general, period? A lot. Ew, sorry. Went to my metal voice right there. Um, well, for one, I'd recommend my band, Dark Insanity. You could check us out on Instagram. We don't have too much up yet. We're just crafting our first songs. Our very first shows are coming up in a month. So we'll have stuff there. And then I recommend my friends' bands, Anubis for the power metal. Um, when you're asked, it's like asking what your favorite movie is and you just get a flood of everything. Um, I don't know. It depends what you're into. There's I could go in so many directions. If I could go off on death metal for the whole podcast and be like, yeah, I'm only a power metal guy. And for myself, honestly, I feel like I struggle with trying to find new bands too. Um, I tend to fall in the loop of what I'm familiar with and listening to. When they have new albums, I listen to it. I do personally try to reach out and see what else is out there, what's going on. That's a big perk of why I love festivals because I'm one of those people who I try to look up every single band before the festival. So if there's something amazing I can't miss or something new to find out, and I've discovered a lot of bands that way. So that's one way I recommend checking out bands is pick a festival you wanna go to and just check out every band on lineup. You're bound to find some good stuff. Um, Zarak says, I feel like you work in IT or tech for some reason. I do not, actually, but I'll take the, I guess, reference or so. Um, oh, yeah, this is a good one to comment on. Really hope Psycho Las Vegas isn't dead. I really hope so too. I don't think it is. I mentioned before, I think they need, or I know that they're kinda like they're still settling on a place to really have, like, as their home base. I'm sure they're dealing with a whole bunch of complicated shit. They're one of the few festivals that only operated during the lockdowns or end of it. Um, but it's a fucking great festival. I was bummed that it isn't happening this year, but I hope it's just to prepare to come back stronger because that's fun. It's a short drive for me. Vegas is only 4 hours. It's way better than Sick New World. uh, and the lineup is nuts. You get insane black metal bands. You get Merciful Fate, and then you get rappers from Wu-Tang Clan, and then you get, like, a country artist, and some, like, hipsters, and then you get a folk metal band, and then you get Exodus, and it's I love the mix of it. It's really fun. It's also really fun to be in Vegas, and so they don't close the casino floor for the festival, so it's full of metalheads, but it's also full of normal people. So you'll walk around in the flood of metalheads, and you'll see Vegas people, like, really confused as to what's going on. Uh, it's always fun to people watch at festivals when you're, like, just outside of it. Like, I've been to a lot of European towns like Graspop, where you can see the old folks who live in the village normally just staring at all these weird young hooligans who invaded their town. Yeah. Adam says, "At least you got an early start on your festival going career. My first one wasn't until age 40. I only go to European festivals." Damn. Well, at least you're going to the right ones. The European ones are where it's at for sure. Um, I know I definitely got a bit of a head start. Uh, I was lucky in that way, I would say. Um, Industrial music culture asks, "Do you like Three Teeth or" I always don't know how to pronounce this one, if it's horror or whatever. Saw a little bit of horror or however you say it at Sick New World. It wasn't my thing at all. Um, Three Teeth is alright. I'm not really big into much that type of industrial. If it's gonna be industrial for me, I need more kinda solid metal, like Ministry, Rammstein, Combi Christ I like a lot. I think they have mixed really well, but not too much of my thing. I like old people guitars and shit. Erling says, "Can't wait to see Iron Maiden 14 days and go to tons of rock in Norway." Nice. Norway's another country I haven't been to yet either, but I definitely want to. I haven't really been to I've been to Iceland, but I haven't been to Finland, Norway, or Sweden. So I'm not really that as metal as I seem. I'm just a poser because I haven't been to the most metal countries. But that's awesome. Iron Maiden still kills it. I saw them a couple months ago. Still amazing. I know how you feel, Adam. No American festivals for me, and I live in California. I'm the same way. Like a metal festival here has to be quite special. Milwaukee Metal Fest, I do think, is a very interesting one that I hope grows a lot. Um, 1 second. Because Milwaukee Metal Fest seems like the perfect mix of for the fans, for the bands, and doing it right. I highly doubt they're gonna have any of the fuck ups that Sick New World had. Yeah. Alejandro asks, "Are you going to Aftershock this year?" I was considering it. The lineup came out. It's not really my thing, so I'm not gonna go this year. I went in, I think 2021, and actually had a good time because I'm from that area. Aftershock is an hour away from my hometown, so it was very interesting to me when I did go to be able to like stay with my family and be in my normal town, and then go off to a metal festival because that was the complete opposite of what it was when I was younger. But I do like that more festivals like that are popping up and give fans that type of experience. Scooby Saurus says, "Seeing Maiden first time at Hellfest. Fuck yeah, that's gonna be sick. Have fun at Hellfest. That is still one of my top favorite festivals. It was literally so life-changing for me. It's definitely grown very big to where it's really crowded. In some ways that adds to the experience, in some ways it doesn't, but I still think Hellfest is an amazing time. I still feel like it's a theme park of heavy metal. It's not like other festivals, and you get to see some crazy, crazy big shows there. That's why I love how eclectic the lineup at Hellfest is too. Like I've said a couple times, you can see the Offspring, and then Rammstein, and then Abbott, and then Gorgoroth, and then Exodus, and then Leonard Skinner, and then Twisted Sister. Just I like that. Oh, here's a good question. What's your favorite album that's released so far this year? I need to remember all the ones that came out. But I have had a couple on repeat. I will not say it's my favorite album of the year, but I will say that I like the new Metallica a lot more than I was expecting. So that was surprising. Probably still won't even put it on the top, like, 5 or 10 of the year, but probably one that caught me by the most surprise. What other albums have come out this year? Didn't Powerwolf come out with theirs? Because I've gotten really, really into them. They are an interesting band. Um, I had this hilarious experience where I just saw Powerwolf in LA a couple months ago, and to me, I thought it was the first time I'd ever seen them. And then when I was making one of my videos, I came across a picture that I'd taken of them at one of the festivals I went to, and I was like, "Oh, apparently I have seen them before." So it happens when you go so far into festivals, apparently all just becomes a blur and you forget some of it after a while. I'm still trying to think of I know more albums have come out. I just cannot come to my mind at the moment. I definitely will make a video on it for shit. We're almost in June. That's halfway point of the year. I guess I'll have to make a halfway through the year video on albums. Then. Oh, I do want to answer this one. Industrial Music Culture asks, do you like I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, but yes, I do like that band. I discovered them at Hellfest. That's the type of industrial that I like. Really pounding, like, uh, heavy ounce music, I would describe it. They were sick. I saw them at Hellfest, and they played it was like them and Punish Yourself and then Combi Christ, and those are all on, like, the select few industrial type bands that I am really into, so that was great. But I recommend that band, they're awesome. Yeah. Yeah, see, Jenna is 100% correct. Uh, the new Metallica album was mediocre, but compared to their recent music, it's superb. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Compared to, like, a real metal album that came out this year, no, but compared to their last decade's worth of music, it's pretty awesome. I would say I can put it on, have it in the background, and not, like, hate any of the music, I would say. Um for more best of the year so far, we got the Tribulation EP so far for me, but if 200 Stab Wounds drops, that'll probably take it for 2023. Yeah, it's a good one. Actually, just came out. That reminded me. Actually, Frozen Soul just dropped an album. I I listened to most of it, and then like something came up, but that band is solid. They have such a heavy, sick sound that so the new Frozen Soul, I forgot what it's called because I just checked it out yesterday, but I'm definitely gonna go through the whole album again and finish it because it's great. William asks, any bands you haven't seen yet that you want to see? I've never seen Deicide, Agent Steel, Candlemass, Fear Factory, Forbidden. Oh, I gotta think because that's hard. I've seen a lot of bands. uh, well, they're broken up now, but I never got to see Strapping Young Lad. I've seen Devin Townsend play strapping songs, and I never thought that would happen. So that's the closest for that, but actually seeing strapping live would have fucking blown my mind. Um, I never got to see Type of Negative. What else is there? Anyone who active now that I haven't seen, I feel like probably for a long time I hadn't seen Slipknot until 2019, and that was kinda weird. It just never came up. We just never crossed paths until I went to Hellfest one year when they played, and I was happy to finally see them. It wasn't like a big, "Oh my god, life-changing moment," but it was like, finally get to knock that one off the list, I'd say. Um, Fuck, I've seen so many bands. Well, I mean, there's always new bands coming up too, so there's plenty of new bands out that I haven't seen yet that I want to. But what else we got? I'll think of something as we keep going. Adam says, "My newest favorites are from Riot City and Evil Invaders." I haven't checked out either of those, so I'll have to add them to the list. That's a cool thing I really appreciate about this channel and this community is getting recommendations of music to check out. Uh, I definitely need it. And he says, "Yeah, Powerwolf is always at the EU festivals. I saw them when they came here too. Said they didn't have all their stage stuff though. When I saw them in LA, they had a whole ton of shit. I wonder if it was different where you I mean, they didn't have like I know in Europe they have like their pyro flamethrowers and stuff. They didn't have that, but uh yeah, I guess on that end I could see that. Um yeah, they're one of those bands that they've been big in Europe for a while and they only just recently came here for their very first shows. They haven't even done a full tour. They're such an interesting band to me because like you wouldn't say that they're like a Christian metal band, but then their lyrics are like this heavy kind of gothic werewolf type of thing. They're an interesting one to describe, I would say, but I love them. They're so much fun, and their singer blows my mind. Um, Industrial Music asks, "What about Vivi Vex?" I don't know who that is, so I'll have to check it out. Damn, William comments, "I've been going to concerts since 1982. That is sick. I'm sure you've seen some legendary stuff." I've been When did I start going to concerts? I think my first metal show was 2007. It was Anthrax when, Joey Belladonna just came back, and Anthrax was the band that, like, got me into metal. They were my whole introduction. So that was a huge, huge one for me. Still love Anthrax a lot. Yeah, I think Jana's right here that 21 people watching and only 12 likes. What's going on here, people? We need you to headbang the like button. I need you to circle pit the link to your friends so they can check out the channel. All support is appreciated. And oh, I forgot about them. I'm personally currently obsessed with Electric Cowboy. Me too. I didn't know who they were for a while until my friend sent me one of their videos. Like, holy shit, this is awesome. Uh, they're they're like a party metal band. Back in my teenage days of house parties and going apeshit, if we had that band, oh god, it would have been nuts. Houses would have been burnt down probably. They're playing in LA later this year. I definitely want to go because they're a new find for me, and I really, really like them. um, Sean Vester says, "Like your videos. What's your thoughts on festivals in the Midwest? Are there any good ones?" Would need to like sit down and look at it. There's a bit here, few and far between. There's Full Terror Assault, that's in Virginia, I don't know if you'd really count that, but, and was Fire in the Mountains. I already forgot where it is, but that one is a festival that looks really amazing and is great for people who don't want a massive festival or don't wanna be around thousands of people, but with the ever-growing rate of them, there's lots of them like, uh, the big American ones, Aftershock, Welcome to Rockville, Rocklahoma, um so many to name off, I can't remember. Uh, there's a lot. You always have to look up, but at the moment, nothing comes to my mind immediately, but there probably is something. Hmm. Bambi Block says, "Hey man, recently discovered your channel and it's great. Have you ever listened to Blind Guardian? Great old German power metal band. Funny you should thank you for appreciating the channel, by the way. But funny you should mention that because for many, many years, Blind Guardian was my favorite band. I was obsessed with Blind Guardian throughout my, like, teens to kinda, like, early 20s. Um, and only just recently have I started to kinda rekindle my interest in them. Because I was, like, heavily obsessed with them. When I first saw them, I was crying. My dream for a long time was to see 'em at Wacken, and I got to in 2011, and that was the most incredible, like, religious experience ever. And then I didn't more so have a falling out with them as I did just kinda just life went in a different direction, other themes were more appealing to me and other interests, and kind of fell off interest on, like, power metal and fantasy stuff overall. And only fairly recently have I started to kinda go back and check out the ones I was into. I did listen to Blind Guardian's newest album and just didn't have any interest in it at all. But, like, I went back recently and played Nightfall and Middle-earth and Live and everything, and those have started to hit that chord again, be like, "Oh, yeah, I remember the magic I felt before of listening to them." So I'd say what is it? I appreciate them again, but they're sort of a nostalgic act for me in a way. Um, Olivia says, "I just looked up the price for Mexico Metal Festival. If I'm not wrong with currency change, it's around 700 US dollars. That would be crazy much, or is it standard in North America?" So, that threw me off too. I'm actually pretty sure the price it shows there is in pesos, and if you convert the pesos to American dollars, it came out to about $180 from when I looked. But I need to double check, and I need to find one of my friends who speaks fluent Spanish to read it for me. But the price it says right there is definitely not the outrageous scary one it seems. I don't know about the 700, but it's worth double checking. I'll need to find out. Brandon, what's up, man? It says, Iggy was so good. I'm glad he wasn't the headliner at Cruel World second night. Saw his full set. I'm not the hugest Susie fan, so I left before the set was over and beat traffic. Did you do the same? So, uh, smart move, actually. So when they did the cancellation for Cruel New World and then added the next day, a buddy of mine who went the first day and didn't care about the headliners gave me his ticket to go see Iggy Pop because I really wanted to see Iggy Pop. I've never seen him before. That's one to add to the question. Any bands I haven't seen? Iggy Pop. Um, so I went there. I got there about like 30 minutes before he was going to start, and the traffic to park was so fucking bad that 10 minutes into his set, I hadn't parked yet. And I only wanted to see him, and he had an hour set, and I still would have had to get through the line. So I turned around and left. So I drove up to Cruel World to see one act, didn't get in, and drove back. And I'm still going to give them a positive video because I thought what they did was awesome. But actually, now that you mentioned that, that's one thing that I do often now that I've seen a lot of bands. If I go to a concert where I know traffic is shit, like getting out in an amphitheater or something, if I've seen the band before, I'm leaving during the last song, because that last song can be the difference between waiting an hour and standstill traffic. I saw Iron Maiden, I think last September. Um, I was on the floor, I was in the pit, and when they started playing, I think, uh, I don't remember what their last song was, but whatever the last song was, seen it before. I got from the pit at Iron Maiden to being on my couch in like 25 minutes. And like that is so much more worth it than seeing them go, "Thank you, good night," and then having to just shuffle out and sit in the traffic. And if it's a band I hadn't seen before, like I've seen Rammstein, but when I went to their show, I definitely stuck it out to the very end because that shit was insane. If I was doing this YouTube channel at the time, I would have made a video just on that Rammstein tour. That was the fucking craziest thing I've ever seen. Janice says, "I moved from LA to Atlanta, and of course, Electric Callboy has no dates in the South, not even Texas." You might have us going from LA to Atlanta, you're losing like 85% of your chance to see live entertainment. I'd say maybe in Atlanta's better. I have a friend in Florida, and they get nothing usually, but especially coming from LA, it's like you could go right now and to to 3 concerts. I've had a bunch of times where I found out about a band, looked them up, and be like, "Oh, they're playing tonight," and just went. But I hope more concerts come your way. I'm sure this is probably Electric Callboy's first tour in the US, I think. Um, if it is, then they're definitely gonna have more. I see them being a big band here. So, uh oh, Sean says, "Fire in the Mountains is in Wyoming." Yeah, that one. Also, Blind Guardian was one of my first metal bands. Great choice. They're great choice to really expand your horizons of metal, I'd say. Fire in the Mountains is one I'm definitely going to the next one. They're not doing it this year, but next year they come back, I'm 100% going. Because I didn't even know about that one until recently, and it looks great. Oh, there we go. Thank you for your name. Norda Bergen says, as I see the preference tickets for the whole fest is 5,600 peso or yeah, 5,600 pesos, which is around $280. Yeah, so from what I've seen, it's definitely worth it. And oh, I fucking love that lineup. I definitely want to go. Hector Cruz says, "You ever been to Aftershock? That's the only festival I've ever been to. I'm sure it's nothing close to Hellfest, but that shit was wild." Yeah, I went to Aftershock in 2019. Definitely doesn't compare to Hellfest, but I will say that it did. It reminded me of the early days of Hellfest because I went to my first Hellfest in 2008, and it was rather. I mean, it was way fucking smaller than it is now. It was 3 stages, and it felt a lot more like how Aftershock is now. So I appreciated that when I went there, that it felt, um, how do I put it? This I don't know. It was awesome to have that type of festival in a location like that and see them growing, but it definitely doesn't compare to the European ones. Oh, fuck yeah. Jay comments, "Just been blasting black metal album by Venom. The riffs are so nostalgic to me, even though I'm only 25. Roll on download." Like, I fucking love Venom. They were one of the first bands I saw in Europe. They were great. Uh, they fucking blow me away. I love just that grimy come out and just fucking rock bands, and Venom's definitely still that. So hell yeah, love Venom. I got a super chats from Jade. Thank you for basically £2. Let's say Metallica 2 weeks till download. Have fun at download. A lot of people have been asking me to make a download video, and I guess I'm gonna have to. I only went in 2010, so I definitely need to go back. But download's such a huge, legendary place. It's definitely one to check out. And that's where you're gonna see some massive concerts too. Jana asks if I'm on Twitter. I'm not. I'm not a fan of Twitter, but I have been thinking of setting up more things for this channel to make it easier to communicate with people because, like, a lot of people don't aren't aware when the live streams happen, and it would kind of, I think, be good for me to be able to post festival updates or just have more areas to talk and chat like that. So I'm definitely thinking of ideas for um either a Twitter for the channel or a Discord server or just whatever things I can add to make the community able to talk to each other more and share awesome stuff because that's important to me. So things are growing quickly and it's a lot to work through. Everything in time, I would say. All of this whole channel, everything is just me. The editing, the filming, the all of it. So uh yeah, that makes me really appreciate everyone tuning in and checking everything out. Um, Here's a good question from Dylan Johnson says, "Hey Wyatt, just found your channel and love it. Thank you. You think traveling music fest, Warp Mayhem will ever make a comeback?" That is a good question. In America, we've had these traveling festivals like Ozfest, Mayhem Fest, where it'll be like 30 cities and they'll just roll up and set up for the day. Kind of what Sick New World was trying to be, but definitely not as good. But I don't know because they've talked about bringing Mayhem Fest back. I'm pretty sure the organizer was saying they want to do it. It kind of had a pretty hilarious falling out, I would say. um, Warp Tour, I don't know. I think they did. announced that that one's pretty much done with. Um, because it's a really difficult thing to do, a traveling festival. Definitely the appeal is to reach more people, but I can understand why a festival would wanna set up a one location and have people come to them. It's just so much easier to move all of that shit around. But, I mean, if one pops up and happens, I would totally welcome it. I'm always down for more festivals. It's funny, I grew up with those. That was festivals back in when I was younger, was Ozfest set up in a parking lot and just running around for the day. So then when I found out things like Vakken, where it's just one stable place and fans go there and it's like a journey, that blew my fucking mind. William says, "Ben, you've seen the most. Any chance of them having a bad day while you watch them?" Well, Sick New World video mentions a couple of them. Uh, for bands I've seen the most times, it's probably Amon Amarth. I I wanna say I've seen them in the high 20s, maybe even 30 amount of times now. Um, I don't know if they've ever played a bad show in their entire lives, so not for them. Uh, who else? The one that does immediately come to mind was when I went to Grass Pop in 2008, I saw Behemoth, and their sound was really bad, and they didn't sound good at all. Um, that's one of those instances I've mentioned before, where, like, that could be any number of issues. Bunch of other bands there sounded great. I've seen Behemoth a bunch of times since then. They sound great. So, but for bands I've seen the most, fuck, I've seen Exodus a lot because I always tour. I feel like there's a headliner I've seen a whole bunch of times. I mean, Lamb of God's getting up there. I've seen them probably 10 to 12 times now. Uh, the band that I've seen the most times out of everyone is my friend's band Arnocore. And if you don't know this band, I recommend everybody going to check them out immediately. Arnocore is a metal kind of crossover with punk type of band who sings about the importance and the strength of the ancient Austrian folk tales like Predator and Terminator, and how empowering they are for people. They're a fucking great band. They've played the most fun, engaging concerts ever. I've been big fans and big friends with them for a while. Go check out Arnocore. You will not regret it. But that band I've seen fucking probably like 40 times or something. Jan asks, "Have you heard of Seeds of War?" I've not. Um, no idea what they sound like. But that's what's awesome about this channel is you guys exposing me to way more bands I need to check out because I definitely want to. Rob says, "Hey man, enjoying your content. Thank you. Have you ever done Bloodstock or gone to Dev and Camden? Noticed a picture of it was used in one of your videos. Keep up the good work." I went to Bloodstock in 2011, I think. Um, I think that was when I went to Bloodstock. But yeah, I went once. Devin headlined. I'm not sure if I used a picture of him in uh it might have been from a Bloodstock video that I used that, but I did see him at Bloodstock and that was fucking awesome. Um Devin is always just incredible live. When I first saw him ever at Hellfest, they were tuning and warming it or getting ready. And Devin goes, "Group hug! Everybody, group hug! Fucking hug each other!" uh And he did the coolest thing I've ever seen a musician do, where when I saw him at a club in San Francisco, as soon as they finished playing, he literally put the mic aside, stepped off the stage, and waited there until everyone who wanted to meet him met him. He took every picture everybody wanted to, and that was, like, the coolest thing ever. It wasn't backstage, popped up later, literally just plop off the stage and just met everyone. Devin's one of the best people to probably ever exist on the planet, I would say. But Bloodstock I wanna go back to. I definitely will be making a video on it because I know it's like, it means a lot to people. It's one of those it has its own kinda culture and fan base too, so I know that would be a really good one to cover and go back to someday. Uh, Industrial Music asks, "Are you going to doing videos on goth and industrial festivals like Infest, Wave Attack, Treffen, cold waves, etc. I think they also feature industrial metal and heavy stuff. I haven't been to a exclusively industrial festival yet. If there were enough bands I was interested in seeing, I definitely would, and I like checking out festivals that aren't metal or a mix of other things to experience the culture of it. Have been to other festivals that weren't exclusively metal or just other big events like conventions and stuff, and I like seeing the culture of people coming together and what makes it unique in a way. So if I'll check those ones out, and if there's ones that with like bands I'd want to be interested in, think it's worth going to, definitely would consider it. One of my really good friends is big in the goth scene and probably knows of all of these festivals. So I'm sure we'll probably venture to one at some point. Yeah, this for this channel, it's definitely mostly gonna be sticking to metal, but like I'm gonna do one on Cruel World, even though it wasn't metal festival at all, just because relates into festivals and I liked what they did. So metal festivals is the theme here, but I definitely am cool with mentioning other stuff. Like when I saw Snoop Dogg in uh, Montebello, that was awesome. Uh, Jay says, "Please make a download video next." It's coming. It's definitely coming. Especially if download's happening soon. I guess I should make it very quickly. Oh, Jay asks, "What's your opinion on Nile?" I haven't like sat down and listened to them in a while, but I was definitely into them back in the day. I still respect them and think they're a solid band. I just haven't really listened to much of their latest things, but they've always been a solid death metal band for sure. I was just a cool comment. Bammy Block says, I also discovered Blind Guardian quite early into my metal journey. Was a diehard metalcore teen at that point, and they opened a whole world for me. That's really cool, and I can totally understand what you mean. I'm sure most people, when they get into metal, want what they think is the most like brutal, hardcore, menacing shit, and then something like Blind Guardian opens a whole new perspective on what music can be. I think, and I think it's good to have broad taste in music like that because like, one of my favorite bands is Bloodbath, another one of my favorite bands is Nightwish, and I'm I think it's good to have range like that. Oh, Janice says, "Wyatt, Koba just told me you live down the street from where we used to live." Yeah, I didn't realize that you're Koba's wife. What's going on? That's awesome. Thank you for coming in here, and we definitely need to meet up sometime. Um, you just reminded me that I'll have to take a picture for the chat, like, right around the corner from me carved into the sidewalk is like a perfect Slayer logo. Somebody got it. Excellent. And it's like there. I'll have to find a picture and upload it. Um Zarek asks, "Hey, how much is a ticket to Vakken?" Nowadays, fuck, I don't know. I'd assume in the high $300 or low to mid 400 after all the fees and everything. Um don't quote me on that, but I would say probably around the same price as Sick New World was for one day, and Vakken was more worth it, I will say that. JS, when do Vakken tickets go on sale? I'm in the UK, so planning on getting tickets ASAP when they release. Pretty much, like, the day the festival ends or very, very shortly afterward, but you will need to be on it, like, the second it goes online. It's that brutal. I mentioned in a video before, I've woken up at 3 AM just to buy Hellfest tickets and still didn't get them at times because every picture the entire audience going to book the ticket at the exact same time. So it's rough, and I wish you well on getting a ticket. It's almost like a battle in itself at this point. Uh, Hector Cruz says, "Craziest shit you've ever seen at a festival concert. Also, do you think you ever been to a festival that got close or worse to being as chaotic as Woodstock?" Oh, well, for the first question, damn, I have to think a little bit, but there's definitely some crazy ones. Give 1 second. Um, Definitely at Hellfest when they do the dumpster jousting or the shopping cart wrestling. That's always fucking hilarious. Just a mass, like, couple hundred people yelling in French, 2 shopping carts going against each other, and they slam into each other, and people in them wrestle each other out. Just turns into a big, like, brawl afterward. But strangely enough, it has its own rules to it too. It's not just full blown chaos, but a good story. A buddy of mine at Vakken 2012. I kind of referenced this in the video I just released today. Had taken a beer bong of pretty much everything that we could fucking find. um, Hard alcohol, all types of beers, like energy drinks. I think there's like soda and shit in there. It was not good, but for some reason he did it. And then a little bit later, I'm out watching Dark Funeral, and someone grabs my shoulder, and I turn around. It's him, and he has an entire stick of butter just smeared across his face, like he didn't even notice. It's just this huge chunk on him. That's still an inside joke me and some friends talk about often. Um, At Vakken 2011, I was in the pit for Heaven Shall Burn, which was fucking crazy. That was probably the biggest pit I've ever seen. And I'm at like the edge of the pit. This girl's crowd surfing and she lands on top of like me and the dude next to me. And it's right when the song ends. So the massive, like, Lord of the Rings sized pit in front of us stops moving because the song ended, and we're holding her. So we look at each other, and me and this random guy run across the entire pit with her over our shoulders, and we just like threw her into the front of the crowd to like crowd surf from there. And we turn to each other like, "Yeah, it was awesome." um, Other craziest shit I've seen at concerts. Um, to get to really, really chaotic shit in Southern California, in San Bernardino. Anyone from LA is gonna know what I'm talking about immediately. There is an amphitheater out there that is like the home of meth heads and tweakers. Shit goes there nuts there all the time. That is actually where the whole Iron Maiden versus Ozzy thing happened, where Iron Maiden got egged, um, and all the drama that was there between Iron Maiden and Sharon for quite a while. That happened there. But the thing to do at that amphitheater is to set the fucking lawn on fire. They do it for almost every single show. But I went there for a show that was Iron Maiden, Anthrax, Megadeth, Testament, Sabaton, I think maybe someone else. Um, by the time Testament came on the lawn, there was a huge stack of just garbage bins, everything on fire, big fucking flame, people moshing around it. And at first, the stupid metalhead in you was like, "Yeah, this is sick." And I went and did like a lap around it, and then I'm like, "Oh, I'm like choking on the burning plastic that's in here." But that is a regular occurrence that happens there all the time. If so, Jana might be able to confirm that if she's ever been there. Besides that, uh, mm, the main just really brutal one for me was Valk in 2012, which wasn't a chaotic disaster by like how it was ran or anything, but just because the rain was so fucking insane that it was like up to your knees. Every single tent was destroyed. That was a chaotic, brutal one I've been to. I'm trying to think of more awesome, awesome. uh, One thing that did happen at a show once, it wasn't a big fucking riot or anything, but I did go see Deicide one time where some dude was crowd surfing, got on the stage, a stage dive, and as he like got up there, security guard came over and not even like roughly pushed him, just get off stage. A couple of minutes later, that dude comes back on the stage while the band is playing, and he's egging on the security guard. And the guard goes up to him, and the dude punches the security guard, and they go into the crowd fighting. And Glenn Benton is still playing and looking down. He's like smiling and laughing while they're doing it. Another one I can think of is Hellfest 2019. It was Slayer's last show in France, I believe. It was definitely their last festival in France. Any Slayer show is complete fucking chaos, but this was next level. The entire crowd was moving, nobody could be still. Um, I felt like I was gonna die from going so nuts in the crowd, but that was where we did a wall of death for Raining Blood, and I was right on the front lines. I wasn't wearing a shirt because I'm cool like that, and the guy that I happened to run into on the other side of the wall of death, part of his one of his pins on his jacket was sticking out a little bit. So I ran into him, slammed into his pin, and it left like a pretty good scar on my chest after that. That was one of the times where I actually had the thoughts of like, I might die at this show. Didn't, but crazy, crazy shit. I'm sure there's more that I can't think of. But yeah, Susan comments saying Arno Core. Everybody check him out. They're ballsy. They're fantastic. Oh, Rob says he was actually referring to Devonshire Arms in Camden Metal Bar. My bad. um, I don't remember if I've been there. I've been to a couple of the pubs out there, but they're kind of fuzzy memories at times. I'd have to ask one of my friends out there which ones have you been to. Trying to catch up with these comments here. It's going quickly. I'm trying to keep up. I'm just one person trying to run this show here. Oh, nice. I'm gonna call that out. Subtle Deviancy says, I sent Copa a picture of my 90s college ID where I was wearing a Slayer t-shirt. Yeah, old school. What a time for metal, the 90s. A lot of people in America say that's when metal basically died, and I'd say that's when it prospered in Europe. What else we got here? Ooh, this is a good comment. Des asks, US metalheads versus European, any differences? A bit, yeah. I would say for the general metalheads in America, the more quote unquote mainstream ones, I guess you could say, it's very much the kind of uh tailgate pickup, like kind of football fan culture. Not saying that that's bad or anything, but it's more of kind of a, I guess, sort of has like a bro feel to it in a way. And in Europe, you get a lot more of either like the straight death metal, the black metal. Power metal is way fucking bigger in Europe for sure. A lot of the times, whenever power metal bands play here, they usually play massive shows in Europe, and they play like a club that's not even sold out or anything when they come here. I think European metal fans tend to be a lot more uh happier and willing to be ridiculous at shows. I think they're a lot more likely to like jump around and uh just act in ridiculous ways and have fun. Metal people in the US, depending on the festival, might be more of the kind of like fuck yeah, bro type of thing. That's really the difference, but you can definitely still find metalheads in America that are more underground. That's really the main difference would see, that I think the Europeans are a lot more likely to have fun at concerts, whether it's like jumping around or like openly singing and just kind of having a ridiculous time. And then American fans are a little bit more uh kind of like sports fans with it in a way, I guess. um Subtle Deviancy says Mosh Pit at Clash of the Titans tour 91. That's nuts. Saw a girl take a nail armband to the forehead and she had to be ambulanced out of there. Ah, that's brutal. Clash of the Titans would have been an insane one. That's up there with legendary concerts. I'm jealous of that for sure. I've probably seen all the bands that played that by now. Damn, I'm trying to think of more like insane painful things I've seen happen at concerts. I broke my leg at a concert, so there's that. That sucked. Didn't realize it, but fell down in the mosh pit, a bunch of people fell on top of me, and heard a snap that was definitely not normal. Mm, it's not chaotic in the sense of, like, people destroying things, but just in terms of absolute ridiculousness. Uh, on 70,000 Tons of Metal, the cruise ship that takes place in leaves Miami, whenever the band Origin play, the death metal band, they have a pillow fight. So literally the entire mosh pit, most of the crowd is people with pillows fighting each other. People do like wall of deaths with mattresses. Um, that is an amazing sight. I have a video of that I definitely will have to clip in to one of my next videos, but to walk down and see a death metal band playing and a couple thousand people with pillows all whipping each other and feathers flying everywhere, that is great time. On 70,000 Tons of Metal, you'll see some of the most ridiculous shit. Uh, Amy Block asks, "Got any tips for me going to Grass Pop for the first time? Went to the went to a few European weekend festivals, but never done any metal festivals. Only been to metal concerts so far. If you've been to other festivals in Europe, it's a similar type of thing. Just replace everything that wasn't metal with metal. For Grass Pop, definitely, I would say you might already know. I haven't been to other festivals, but look at the schedule and plan out for when the bands are that you really want to see to make sure you don't miss anything. That's usually the most hectic part at festivals for me is trying to make sure you see the people you really want to. Things definitely come up too where you lose track of time or things happen. Um, for the first time, definitely let yourself have fun, I would say. Don't be afraid to start a conversation with someone or uh, meet people and let yourself go. Because it's definitely a different. If you go to a festival and you only watch the bands and you like don't make any type of effort to meet people or talk to anyone or anything, it is a completely different experience when it feels like you're there full of friends. Like I mentioned in the video I uploaded today, I've met a lot of my longtime friends from festivals that I wasn't expecting at all, that I went with like a different friend or by myself. So I think that's my main suggestion would be to allow yourself to have fun and try new things and remember that you will have time to recover later. I'll say. That doesn't mean, you know, go completely nuts to where you break yourself or anything, but if a band is playing late that you wanna see, you'll be able to sleep later. You won't be able to see them probably for a long time. So I would say that, don't hold yourself back from really experiencing everything and having a good time. Janet comments, "My sister broke her nose at a Kiss concert. How?" That sucks for sure. I feel terrible about that, but was it someone just, like, throwing their arm up or something? Did Paul Stanley fly over the crowd and kick her in the face with his 8-inch platform boots? Um, at a Slayer show I went to, Lamb of God was playing, and I was moshing, and then all of a sudden, a water jug landed right on the bridge of my nose, like, a big one, not a cup, and I thought my nose was broken. The next day, I woke up in, like, extreme pain. Injuries happen at concerts, folks. Be careful. Oh, William comments, "Seeing a girl get hit with spikes at a Violence concert in 1988. She was a skinhead and her skinhead friends beat that guy up." Damn. S yeah, I always felt weird about spikes back in the day when I was discovering metal. I had, like, gauntlets and spikes and stuff, and very quickly was kinda like, it's not really my thing, I guess." Yeah, you gotta be careful with those types of shit. Um, yeah, that's a good comment. Was that, VOA in Lisbon, and I totally agree with your views. They love to have fun. They do, which makes it great. That's one thing that most normal people don't realize about metal concerts. It's not like a horde of brooding evil orcs who are just doing evil chants the whole time. You'll see some of the most ridiculous, entertaining, just bizarre antics you'll ever see. Some of the most creative people you'll ever find are at campgrounds and metal festivals. Hector Cruz asks, have you ever seen any bands that were genuinely scary playing live? I've never been to a black metal show, but I've heard Behemoth and Gorgoroth are insane. I've seen Gorgoroth live. It wasn't scary to me, but it was definitely intense, like a damn what the fuck type of thing. Um, actually scary. I would say that one that does come to mind was I saw Primordial at Metal Days, and that singer just gives such a powerful performance. Um, Almost in not even, like, running around the stage going nuts, but, like, in his emotion, because throughout his songs, he would look at people in the crowd, but you could tell he was, like, piercing into your soul. It was like the eye of Sauron grabbing you, and that stands out as a moment to where, I don't know, just it felt more like, not just to me, he did it to a bunch of other people too, but that was like "Oh, shit, this person's, like, serious." Besides that, the only thing that I can think of in terms of really scary was, like, if a show got really fucking chaotic and out of hand. I've been to some punk shows where I had to move myself back from the crowd. Um, Not scary in terms of theatrics. I love big theatrical shows, like, the more shit they have, the better. But, fuck, what was I just gonna say about one? Oh, when I saw AC/DC at Download in 2010, that was literally the only time where the crowd surged so much that I could not breathe, and I had to turn around and, like, swim backwards for a couple songs because it wasn't like I'm crushed and can't move, it was I cannot get air into my lungs. That was one of the few times I felt, I would say, scared in a way, but besides that, no, I like the evil shit. William comments, "Seen Testament, 1988. A guy stage diving. The guy jumped, and instead of crowd catching him, they cleared it. He knocked himself out hitting the floor. I've seen that a bunch of times." I mean, you feel bad, but it is kind of funny at the same time. But try to catch him, please. That's my suggestion. If someone crowd surfs at a concert and you're thinking of if you should move or not, Wyatt suggests that you help him out. People at metal festivals are the friendliest bunch. They are. They absolutely are. They've met the coolest, kindest people at festivals. It's so easy to make friends. People don't even realize it. Yeah, like I put in my video, just point to someone and be like, "Hey, that band's awesome," and be like, "That band's awesome," and you're friends. Um, oh yeah, so Bamblock says, "Yeah, meeting new people and making friends is a must since I'm going alone to Grass Hop." Yeah, so if you drink, just grab a drink and chat to people near your tent. If you're camping there or watching a band, just hanging out somewhere, super easy to make friends. Everyone there is metal, or at least they should be. So, but I hope you have a great time. I really want to go back to Grass Pop. I like their lineup a lot this year. Janice says the broke the nose at the Kiss concert. She was standing on a chair and someone pushed her from behind, landed on her face. Oh damn, had to leave. She came back to their next show the next day because she was upset she missed the rest of the show. Damn. Yeah, so that sounds like probably her fault. um, I mean, we've all had those moments. I'm trying to think of more if I've had like brutal injuries like that at a show. Not really. The breaking the leg was the worst one, and I didn't even realize it for a minute. um, Said Kevin Martin from Candlebox was closest to hitting awesome vocals compared to Dickinson. I don't know if I've ever really listened to Candlebox, to be fair. I think it's Gills. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. At Grass Up, a lot of times things got stolen from us not going there anymore. That's shitty. I mean, yeah, it's an unfortunate thing for pretty much any um big festival or big event type of thing. Just the best you can do is be careful, but hopefully don't run into any assholes. Scooby Sara says, "When did you see Gorgoroth? Was it with Gals the singer?" Yes, it was Hellfest 2009. Um, yeah, that was nuts. It was interesting. Um, because the big stage show, they had naked crucified people up there, uh, pounding evil, such a crazy experience. But it was funny to me that the pictures I took of Gal came out really, really clear because he did not move for the entire show. Like he sounded great, but Gal's entire stage performance was which people perform in different ways. It was still awesome, still felt nuts because I definitely didn't think I'd ever see that band. The first time when I was just discovering metal and I knew about Slipknot and like Avenged Sevenfold and stuff like that, and just vaguely heard of the world of European metal. I was in a shop in London, and I remember seeing a metal magazine that had Gorgoroth on it with all their paint. I think it was the first time I saw black metal, and at the moment, there was definitely a sense of like, this is some next level type of stuff. And I think since then, Gorgoroth had kind of this like legendary status on me, so getting to see them was awesome. And then immediately after they were done playing was Motley Crue. Very, very fitting. They're like the same band. Des says, any opinions about metal bands rising from non-metal countries like India, Indonesia, Nepal, and so on? Bloodywood was pretty banger once you get used to the rap parts. Yeah, so Bloodywood is one that I caught on fairly recently. And I agree with your comment. They took a minute to sink in with me for the rap parts. I don't think those parts are terrible, but the parts that hit me the hardest are when it's the influence of the Indian music and then the actual metal vocals over it. But once it does kind of sink in, they are an awesome band. I definitely want to see them live. I love when metal bands come from countries and they incorporate their own culture into it in ways. It's funny, I would argue that metal is actually extremely diverse in ways where people with from their own cultures in completely different parts of the world add their own influence and make it their own. I love that shit. Um, Sam Dunn, who made A Headbanger's Journey, made another documentary that was great that a lot of people don't know about called Global Metal, where he goes to a bunch of these countries and interviews local bands or bands that are popular from there or big touring bands and asks them about like the culture in their country, how it affects the metal and the metal scene there. I highly recommend that, and I think it actually you could find it on YouTube. So, Global Metal, check that one out for sure, and you'll find a lot of these bands. And I would like to find more of them too. Definitely. Uh, Sorry, catching up here. Oh my god. Landis says, one of my first rock festivals, we took the wrong trail and had to climb a barbed wire fence to get to the entrance. We were injured before we got into the festival. That is brutal. That's a hell of a way to start your festival. God. That can happen though. I've definitely ended up lost on uh festivals and not knowing where I was at and shit. I think it's Dwarven says, I just went to Rockville. Cool. And one of the side stages was kicking dust everywhere on my body from the pit. I'm guessing that's also a common occurrence at European festivals. Yep. Yep, that's a very common occurrence. I've strongly recommended bandanas or some type of mask in a way if you're going to be in the pit because that shit can definitely be brutal. That's actually one thing I thought would be a good use for bands branded masks that they made for COVID when everybody was on lockdown and wearing masks. If you have a cool band one from that, that would be great at a festival where there's dust and everything. That will really help. But yeah, I've definitely had hard times breathing at festivals before because of the dust. It's just something to be aware of. Hopefully, if you get like a little bit of a sprinkle of rain or the festival sometimes hoses it down, that's always good. But definitely something that can happen. Unfortunately, I've definitely been caked in dirt after festivals if you're camping there. Photo Bear says the one downside in Europe are the pickpockets. Yeah, I mean that really hasn't been much. That hasn't happened to me. I tend to not carry that much shit on me though, but I've definitely heard about it. It's definitely happened to some friends of mine. Um, Best you can do is just be careful, and if you catch someone trying to steal your stuff, beat the shit out of 'em. Scooby Star says, saw Gal's Weird Ward, however the fuck you say that, at Hellfest in London last year, and he was quite still on stage, but his vocals are great. Exactly. Yeah. I'm not knocking how he sounds at all or his musicianship. Uh, I personally am a very punk rock, energetic person. Whenever I perform live with bands, I'm running all over, going ape shit. That's just me. One of my favorite frontmen is Barney from Napalm Death. Uh, so that is the stuff I like. But I'm all over the place. I love bands that just deliver a great performance too. It depends on the person. Uh, Bamblock says, big tip for avoiding pickpockets at festivals is wear a fanny pack across the chest or wear a hidden wallet with a cord around your neck. Yeah. Uh, I'd recommend wearing a hidden wallet because then no one will see you wearing a fanny pack. uh, no, a fanny pack 100% would be good too. You should make a really metal one, put like studs and a pentagram on it and stuff. But yeah, it sucks for everybody that happens to. If you do get pickpocketed at a festival or something goes missing, definitely do check the lost and found. Check it at least one time before you leave at the end because I have had things turn up there plenty of times. I've lost my phone before. I've lost my wallet before. Friends have lost their wallets before, and they actually did turn up with the lost and found. Because metalheads, for the most part, are actually good people. Sonora and Dub says, hello, love your channel and your honest reviews of festivals. Thank you. I appreciate that. It is important for me to be honest. I might talk some shit and make some jokes, but I'll keep it honest. Um, Sorry, catching up here. Adam Gilbert says, Fanny Pack has been my saving grace at festivals. Great shout out as it keeps your valuables out of reach for those pickpockets. Yeah, no, it definitely works. Excuse my humor earlier, but no, it definitely will help a lot. And Snarl and Dove again says, everything you mentioned about Sick New World is the reason I did not go. Yeah, I mean, there were some red flags. I didn't expect it to be as nuts as it was, but um good looking out, I would say, for avoiding that one. Scooby I watched your Sick New World video. Can't believe they cut Cradle of Filth like that at the end. Wasn't that some shit? Would you expect a festival in Vegas to have a midnight curfew? What the fuck? And yeah, I felt terrible because they were the last band of the festival. They didn't do anything to get pushed that far back and start that late. And they did actually sound great. They sounded awesome. And for me personally, a lot of me and people who have been on 70,000 Tons a lot, someone who also is a regular on 70,000 Tons is now a member of Cradle of Filth. And a lot of us were there to see her perform with them. And yeah, the set getting cut short was really disappointing. I've never seen that happen where it was just lights on, music off, get out. Like if you could tell from my video, you can't even hear Danny say like thank you, good night, or festival's over, you were awesome. Just the song wasn't even fully done because you can hear the drum start going with no mic or audio at all. It was bullshit, all of it. Alicia asks, what do you think of Wardruna? Hearing the convos about both Gorgoroth and unique sounds to specific cultures got me thinking about, I can't pronounce that, but but I know what you're talking about. And the instruments he uses. You know, I definitely like Wardruna and Halung and those bands. I have not seen either of them live yet, and I really want to. They're not something that if I'm going throughout my day, I just like put on and listen to. But at times, if I'm out in the woods camping, need a nature moment, that it's definitely an experience to put on. They're not something to me you would like throw on a playlist and it would show up with a bunch of other songs. That's like you're having a ritual in a way, is when that would come up. But I definitely like those bands. I definitely like that influence. I have strong um Icelandic heritage. It's where my family's from, so that type of culture really resonates with me. So whenever I get the chance to see them, I definitely want to. Snarian Dub says Psycho Las Vegas is only a festival out of 10. It's a good festival. It's it's inside with air. It's actually really fucking cold inside a lot of the time. I've been to Psycho Las Vegas and been freezing and had to go outside to warm up. I don't know why it's a thing, but it is. Yeah. Dwarven says, "Yeah, I realized a mask would be really useful. Roots Bloody Roots came on and the Dust won that battle." Yeah, for that song for sure. I've seen that at Hellfest too. That song or Refuse Resist comes on, just dust. Rockville overall was fun though, besides Trivium and Alter Bridge canceling. That sucks. Especially if a band cancels last minute. You're already there. That's a bummer. But Rockville have not been to yet, but I'm certain I'll go to pretty much every American festival, and as many as I can of other countries too. What's your personal opinion on Blitz's vocals for Overkill? I like Overkill. Blitz is awesome. Blitz, is a really cool dude. I don't listen to Overkill that often, but they still have a couple bangers. They're one of those bands where if they're playing a show, then I definitely go see them. And when they come on stage, I'm like, oh damn, I remember how awesome this band was. I like Blitz's vocals. Um, oh, here's a good question. Adam Gilbert asks, any bands you are desperate to see who may be coming to the end of their career? I tried to see Iggy Pop the other night, and that didn't work out, and still haven't seen him. So definitely want to do that one. Mm, I have to think more. I know there's legendary stuff. I know they're not metal, but I haven't seen the Who, and I would definitely love to. Um, Also not metal, but if not done, definitely going to be ending soon. Is Tom Waits? Oh god, I fucking love Tom Waits. I would love that opportunity to see him. For metal bands, I've seen a whole fucking lot of them, and I haven't seen Judas Priest in a long time, since 2011, so definitely want to see them again before they eventually hang it up. I don't know if they ever can, but, love Judas Priest, seen them a bunch of times, but it has been about 10 years, so definitely wanna see them again. Um, who the fuck else is out there? Trying to think of, like, thousands of bands at one time, it's hard to narrow down into all of it. Oh, good question. Thoughts on Slaughter to Prevail? Alex Terrible is a badass frontman. Yeah, I know he's fucking insane. I've watched his covers and his range is nuts. Um, I would say he helped inspire me to start practicing vocals on my own too. Slaughter to Prevail, I haven't listened to too many songs all the way through. I tend to like more of the groovy death metal bands, kind of like that old school circle pit sound, stuff like Obituary, Bolt Thrower, Frozen Soul for new bands, Creeping Death is like that. Um, so that tends to more go that's more what I'm interested in. But I haven't like sat down and listened to a full album of to Prevail and need to check out more songs. But absolutely respect that dude for how insane his vocals are. Um, you tell he definitely puts a lot of work into it. And as a vocalist, I know how difficult it can be to train all that shit. Harley comments, never been to a festival. They don't sound friendly for an asthmatic like me. They can definitely be difficult depending on the festival. Um, if you go to an indoor one, you definitely won't have that problem at all. If it's an outdoor one, it depends on the setup. Like if you went to Sick New World, there wasn't any dust, but you would have died of heat stroke. Um, if a festival does have dust, as long as you're not near the pit, you're probably fine. If you tend to be in back, or you can usually see the kind of trail it's going in. So if there's a festival you really want to go to, bands you really want, I wouldn't take that as like a sole reason not to. You would be able to find places where it wouldn't be bothering you, I'd say. But unless you're really intent on moshing in the dirt, then yeah, it's probably not going to happen. All right, I'm going to wrap up here in a minute, but I want to finish up a few of these comments. This went by really quickly. You guys are awesome to talk to and keep me engaged and flowing. I really thank you all for coming in here. I think it's definitely the most viewers I've had so far in a stream. I definitely appreciate that. Like I've said, the success of this channel has been nuts. I don't take it lightly. It's really incredible, and I appreciate all of you for enjoying my stupid jokes. Hey, give a shout out to Copa popping in here. What's up, man? Check out his channel if you want some hilarious film reviews and criticisms. Me and him have a bit of a entertainment industry background, so we give some good critiques on current entertainment. Yeah, here's a good comment. So Sonora Dub, freezing in the joint at the Hard Rock. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Vegas casinos, but they're fucking cold. At Psycho, legit, I'd be walking bands and I'd have to go outside just to warm up my skin. I went to a ice bar at the last Psycho Las Vegas that was there, where they give you like big ass coat and everything's made of ice. And it was more comfortable than the rest of the casino because they gave me this big comfortable jacket. I'm like, can I just bring this with me to walk around the rest of the festival with? Let's see here. These comments are going too damn fast. Can't keep up with all of them. Eric comments, hey man, just want to say your latest video hyped me up. Good. I'm going to Sweden Rock Festival in less than 2 weeks. And rock on, greetings from Sweden. Thanks, man. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad that it excited people and amped people up for festivals, because I know what it means to me and how fucking stoked I get. Answer this question before I happen to log off and get back to work, but Alicia asks, how often do you stream and what platforms are you on? Found your channel recently and dig the content. Keep up the sick work. I'm only streaming on YouTube for the moment. I am doing it once a week. I'm trying to, unless something comes up, I do it at this time on, for me, it's Wednesdays at 11 a.m. That's California time. I don't know. I have it broken down. I posted on my YouTube the times for other time zones. Can't remember them at the moment, but whatever time it is right now for you, this is the time where I try to do a live stream for an hour, hour and a half. Video uploads come when I finish them. The videos take a lot of work and I spend a lot of time on them. It's like wake up and just editing and then go to bed and just keep doing it. I try to get one video out a week. I try to get more than one video out of a week, but a lot of times it ends up just making up the once a week part. But that is the schedule at the moment, more or less. Live streams Wednesdays at 11 a.m. California time. Right now, just on YouTube. I've been thinking of also doing Rumble too, because apparently it's moving up pretty well with streamers, but I don't know how well like music stuff would work over there or festival stuff, but I don't know. We'll see how things grow. Let me read these super chats before I have to log off of here. Thank you, by the way. Photo Bears, I'm calling you, for $5, says, keep it up, dude. Love your content. Thank you. I definitely will. And you all really inspire me to keep it going. And Olivia, as fans need some Discord to find festival friends. That is something that definitely will probably be happening sooner than later. A Discord for the channel so everybody can stay in contact and I can update people better and we can just share more festival tips and everything. That's something that I think would be very beneficial here. So that will come soon. I can't promise when, but much sooner rather than later. probably before 70,000 tons of metal announces any bands. And with that, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Thank you for tuning in. It's really awesome chatting with all of you and keeping the metal community alive. Check out my latest video. Reasons why I love metal festivals just came up earlier today. Hopefully, I'll see you guys at a festival soon. Check out my band, Dark Insanity. Right now, we're only on Instagram, but we're quickly building up to have more shit. So, yeah, stay metal, and I will see you all later.